Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is rarely the one who has the most interesting story to tell? We live in a world that seems to be designed for the bold and the noisy. We celebrate the people who jump onto tables and shout their excitement from the rooftops. We are taught from a very young age that to be happy we must be expressive and to be successful we must be visible. But there is a silent majority among us who find their joy in a much quieter space. These are the people who stand at the edge of the party watching the light hit a glass of water or noticing the strange color of the wallpaper. They are not hiding and they are not sad. They are simply processing the world at a different frequency. Imagine for a moment that life is a massive theater production. Most people want to be the actors under the bright lights, but someone needs to be the audience and someone needs to be the critic. This perspective shifts how we think about human connection. It suggests that excitement does not always look like a scream or a dance. Sometimes excitement looks like a calm person breaking in a new pair of boots or finding a perfect item at a thrift store. We often overlook the power of the witness. In a society obsessed with doing, we often forget the value of simply being and observing. To understand this better, we have to look at the context of our modern social lives. We are currently living through a time of intense density. More and more people are moving into crowded cities like New York or London. This creates a strange pressure on our resources and our personal space. When too many people live in one neighborhood, even the thrift stores become battlegrounds where the good items are picked over within minutes. This overpopulation of our physical and digital spaces has led to a culture of constant competition. We feel like we have to shout just to be heard over the noise of capitalism and the endless cycle of donating our unwanted items. We are constantly told to move faster and to spend more. Even the way we heal from injuries has become a part of this consumer culture. We go to physical therapy and find that it feels like a light version of a gym where the equipment looks more like fashion accessories than medical tools. Everything around us is trying to pull us into a specific way of behaving. We are expected to participate in the same loud games and the same aggressive social patterns. This environment creates a difficult landscape for anyone who prefers a lower volume of life. It makes us wonder if we are allowed to enjoy the world on our own terms. On the surface, we often encounter the concept of the introvert as someone who is broken or shy. When you see someone standing alone at a party, the surface-level reaction is to assume they are having a bad time. People feel a sudden rush of empathy and they want to save that person. They run over and ask if they are okay or if they need a drink. This is a well-meaning gesture, but it is based on a misunderstanding of what fun looks like. On the surface, we think fun is a performance. We think that if you are not laughing loudly or moving your body, you are not experiencing joy. But for an active introvert, the fun is happening internally. The brain is a very busy place and it is decorated exactly how the owner likes it. The excitement comes from watching the scene unfold and noticing the tiny details that the loud people are missing. The surface concept of the introvert as a victim of their own personality is one of the biggest myths of our social structure. It ignores the reality that observation is an active and fulfilling way to engage with reality. Beneath this surface lies a hidden assumption that extroversion is the only healthy way to exist. We assume that discomfort in a quiet person is a problem that needs to be fixed by a loud person. This assumption is deeply embedded in our schools and our workplaces. We reward the students who raise their hands the most and the employees who speak the loudest in meetings. We assume that if someone is not contributing noise, they are not contributing value. This hidden bias creates a world where the quiet observer feels like an outsider in their own life. It forces people to perform a version of themselves that is exhausting and fake. We assume that the life of the party is the one who is most connected to the group, but the truth is that the observer often has a much more accurate view of the social dynamics. By assuming that everyone wants to be the center of attention, we narrow our understanding of human nature. We miss the chance to learn from the people who are looking at the things we are too busy to notice. This reveals a structural pattern in how we organize our communal spaces. Think about the layout of a club or a dive bar. The music is often so loud that conversation is impossible. The lighting is frequently designed to be disorienting with strange colors like teal or magenta that make it hard to even see the floor. This structure is intended to force people into a state of pure sensory experience where thinking and observing are discouraged. It is a structure that prioritizes the group over the individual. Even the bathrooms in these places have become symbols of this strange social contract. We see signs offering drug testing strips and emergency medical supplies, but we cannot find a simple hook on the back of the door to hang a bag. This is a structural pattern of extreme care for the dramatic and total neglect for the practical. It shows a society that is prepared for a crisis but has forgotten the basic needs of a person who just wants to exist comfortably. We build spaces for the person who wants to lose control, but we provide no room for the person who wants to stay present and mindful. We can reframe this by looking at the world through the eyes of the active introvert. Instead of seeing the wallflower as someone who is left out, we can reframe them as a credible witness of the human experience. If everyone is dancing, who is there to tell the story of what actually happened? The quiet person in the corner is the one who notices the weird lighting and the lack of toilet paper and the strange behaviors of the crowd. They are the ones who are truly present because they are not distracted by their own performance. We can reframe social events as opportunities for diverse comfort levels to coexist. A club can be a place to dance, but it can also be a place to sit quietly with a tote bag and knit or solve a puzzle. When we reframe our social expectations, we allow for a much richer community. We stop seeing difference as a problem and start seeing it as a necessary balance. The world needs the people who jump out of planes and scream, but it equally needs the people who stay on the ground and take notes. This is a reframing of participation itself. You do not have to be loud to belong. Applying this to our daily lives starts with respecting the boundaries of the people around us. If you are an extrovert, the most helpful thing you can do is to believe people when they tell you they are fine. If you see someone chilling on the wall, let them stay there. They are having their own version of a good time, and your interruption might actually be the only thing that ruins it for them. If you are an introvert, the application is to own your space. You can go to the club with a tote bag and a cup of tea if that is what makes you happy. You can participate in the world without surrendering your need for quiet and observation. We can all start to demand more practical care in our public spaces, like hooks on doors and clear lighting. We can also be more mindful of what we donate and how we spend our energy. Instead of giving away only our horrible things to the thrift store, we can give away things that might actually bring joy to someone else. This is an application of empathy that goes beyond the surface. It is about recognizing that we are all sharing this overpopulated world, and we should try to make it a little more comfortable for everyone regardless of their personality type. This leads us to a deeper reflection on the nature of consequences in play. We often treat play as something that is only for children or for people who are acting wildly. But play can also be quiet. Playing a game of Sudoku in a loud bar is a form of play. It is a way of interacting with an environment in an unexpected and personal way. We need to realize that our comfort levels are not fixed. They change depending on the day and the situation. Sometimes we might want to be the life of the party, and other times we might want to be the one who observes from the shadows. The key is to have the freedom to choose. When we respect the comfort levels of others, we are actually protecting our own future freedom to be quiet when we need to be. We are building a culture that values the human spirit in all its forms. This is the back end of healing our social structure. It is like the diet gym of society, where we don't have to lift heavy weights of expectation and we don't have to follow a strict dress code of personality. We can just be ourselves and pull on the colorful hair ties of our own interests while the music of the world plays in the background. It is a slow and calm way of moving through life that honors the witness as much as the actor. As we move forward, we should look for ways to make our third spaces more inclusive for every type of person. We should look for the hooks on the doors and the clear water in the glasses. We should celebrate the fact that we can be in the same room together while having completely different experiences. This is the beauty of human diversity. It is not just about where we come from or what we look like, but about how we process the world. The more we respect these internal boundaries, the more we can all truly breathe. We don't need to be loud to be significant, and we don't need to be seen to be having fun. The next time you are out at a function, try to notice the person who is quietly watching from the corner, and instead of asking if they are okay, try to imagine what amazing details they are seeing that you might be completely missing. If you were to stop performing your personality for just one evening and simply became a silent witness to the world around you, what is the very first thing you think you would notice that has been invisible to you until now?